Bitcoin's up strong. Like, when does it break? Where does it break? Is it a zero-sum game still? Will one of these fall off and the others will kind of gobble up that capital? Or is it going to be a race to just even bigger capital? Because the thing we have to remember is part of why every asset class is inflated is we've pumped how much monetary supply into the system over the last few years, just like with real estate as well. So it's a difficult thing. You have to get in front of buyers in different places, and you have to really, guys like you and I are out there pushing that education standard for folks looking at it. I think you're seeing more crypto. The crypto Google search keyword is actually stronger than just Bitcoin.
There's also an interesting shift in search trends. People are now Googling crypto more than Bitcoin. That's significant. Even though Klein identifies as a Bitcoin bull, the wider crypto market is drawing attention. Coins like XRP continue to dominate discussions on platforms like X, formerly Twitter, where communities remain strong and vocal. Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space, and drop your comments and observations in the comment section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
I did make that prediction in April when it was at 75,000. So I'm halfway there, so I don't look like a complete fool. But I think there's some things underneath. Obviously, this recent poll should just prove to us that leverage is a dangerous drug, right? And it really kind of just collapsed some of these altcoins. But as far as Bitcoin, I was impressed by the resilience it showed over the weekend. Normally, when something like this happens on a Friday, by Monday we're freaking out even worse because the market doesn't close; it's thinly traded. It held pretty strong in the 115 zone. It's dipping a little bit again this week. It's soft. I kind of think it's like the washing machine, you know, like that after it does the original clean and then it kind of soaks everything before it hits the spin cycle. It's kind of like that moment where we're going to be a little bit sideways for a bit. But let's not forget, there's still race to reserve happening all across the world. It's not just the US here, but all kinds of countries are trying to say, okay, I need to counterbalance my overall balance sheet with some hard assets like crypto, as they've done with gold and oil before as a strategic reserve. You add that plus the treasuries, the groups that are going basically full tilt as a digital asset treasury company, following in Saylor's footsteps. That's another piece. But then you and I both know, we've been through enough cycles. There's this retail FOMO that happens, and there's a price point where it hits. I thought we were going to see it last week when we touched 125, 126, when we broke new all-time highs. I think you get into that one, it's a psychological 130, 135, and all of a sudden you're off to the races to 150. And then from there, that's what the cycles do over time. And never forget, having happened and the impact of, I think we will start seeing some supply constraint for sure by the end of the year. You know, in being in the crypto business, we notice it for sure. And great word, echo chamber, right? Because I do all kinds of stuff on X now, and it's everybody's talking, but are the outside new entrants coming in? And really, we're in somewhat of a paradox. I was on NASDAQ yesterday and we were talking about, so gold's at all-time highs, silver's at all-time highs. Well, not all-time highs, but it's soaring. Stocks are soaring. Bitcoin's up strong. When does it break? Where does it break? Is it a zero-sum game still? Will one of these fall off and the others will kind of gobble up that capital? Or is it going to be a race to just even bigger capital? Because the thing we have to remember is part of why every asset class is inflated is we've pumped how much monetary supply into the system over the last few years, just like with real estate as well. So it's a difficult thing. You have to get in front of buyers in different places, and you have to really, guys like you and I are out there pushing that education standard for folks looking at it. I think you're seeing more crypto. The crypto Google search keyword is actually stronger than just Bitcoin. I think the concept of crypto overall has really taken, even though I know you and I are more Bitcoin bulls, has really taken over some of that attention. Particular coins too. I mean, we all know the XRP army is really strong. If you're on X, you know the XRP army's out there. Mm-hmm. So particular assets as well, and looking at that. And then also ETFs, we usually combine them with crypto ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs. People are still searching access for this. Vanguard just basically did a 180. Back when the ETFs came out, they said, no way, we're traditional, old school house. This is not the space. And
that
now,
guy's the former CEO.
Yeah, exactly, the former CEO. And now they've changed course because the demand's there. And if you got enough capital flight out of your custodian or your trust, then yeah, you're going to change course eventually. Mm-hmm. But we do have everything's kind of paused. This shutdown, I think crypto guys went nuts with the shutdown. They're like, oh yeah, the government's down. This is why we're independents and we're libertarians and the Bitcoin mentality. But now there's this queue that's stacking up because the government, all the 3-letter agencies aren't getting through the ETF queues and all those things. Like we had all this great Genius Act, Clarity Act, and now we're back into the clarity's not as clear as it was, say, a few months ago. And we've got to get through this shutdown that's happening. But also there's a mental psyche that I'm noticing of the fatigue of the average American with this shutdown stuff. This isn't the first one. I mean, I was just joking that Clinton had one of these as well. This is when he was answering the phones. Remember, they made the whole parody about him answering the phones because nobody was working because the Republicans had shut it down. And I think Americans are kind of starting to get fatigued of all this. This isn't really, in my opinion, if this goes on much longer, we're halfway to the longest one. The longest one was 35 days. We're at day 16 right now. If we go well past that, Americans at some point are going to start thinking this isn't a red versus blue thing. I think it's more a orange versus green thing, which is, let's not forget, everybody, even though it is the Federal Reserve and they're separate from the government itself, everybody just couples the government, the federal government as a whole. They're going to say, wait a minute, these guys can't even agree on passing a bill, which is arguably going to be the largest bill as far as a budget ever. And that keeps happening. How are they managing money? Oh, they're just printing the crap out of it. And that's why I love Bitcoin and the finite nature of it and the scarcity of it. And I think those things, they take time. That paradigm shift takes time to click. But when it does click, then you'll start seeing those Bitcoin searches start to increase again.
One year, family members are thanking him for getting them into Bitcoin early. The next year, they're asking if he's okay because the market crashed. Every holiday dinner becomes a litmus test for public sentiment. But this, he says, is all part of the process. That paradigm shift, the one where the average person begins to truly grasp Bitcoin's value as a finite, censorship-resistant asset, takes time. But once it happens, the shift is irreversible.
Hope it doesn't take a national tragedy to start bridging these gaps. I hope there's more centrist views and those types of things. I'm an orange guy. I'm not a blue or a red guy. I'm an orange guy at the end of the day. And I think, I mean, I see pros and cons on both sides for sure. Obviously, as a crypto guy, I love seeing the change, the pendulum swing of regulation, where we're getting a chance to prove to the world we can do some really amazing things with this technology, instead of waiting in line at the 3-letter agencies for them never to respond with a letter and kind of just act like we don't exist. So I'm encouraged by that. But that pendulum swings. It'll keep going back and forth, especially after things like Friday. And if you see leverage get out of hand, they come in with very big, broad strokes too. The government doesn't have a fine pen. They have a big black marker and they just say, nope, this is gone or this is gone kind of thing. So, but barring a national tragedy, I think Bitcoin is one of those things that can start bringing us together. I'm very interested, you probably have the same. I was joking with your Phil and John last night of what's Thanksgiving dinner at the Pomp House like? All right. But I always think about, been doing this a decade, every Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's always a little bit of different temperature going into the holidays with our families of what's it going to be like around the table? Are they, because like you said, that search volume's down. Are people still interested? What will we be talking
Bitcoin
about?
specifically?
With Bitcoin specifically, what will we be talking about? I mean, I had years where they were like, I can't believe you didn't tell me about this. Or there was like 17, 18. And then it was, are you okay? In 19. And then eventually over the years, it's always kind of a little bit different of a narrative at Thanksgiving. So you'll have to tell me how it goes at yours. I heard you guys are very intellectually solid arguers, is what they said. You guys, that's all they see is that, okay, well, it's in lock and key and I can't touch it. You can get it out. There's a penalty for it, but you can get it out. It's not like it's locked in there forever. But they're not seeing the other half of it is there's a reason. The government gives me an incentive for that, which they hardly ever give us incentives, is I put the money aside, it lowers my tax bill for the year. So there's additional savings for you in your overall financial landscape. And I can trade all the time. And not every year I got to go to my tax guy and say, oh, I bought NVIDIA and I sold it for Apple and I did this. And every time those gains, it really does. I mean, 37 is the highest amount, but you're taking away somewhere between 20 to 30% of every win that you have. So if you're making $10,000 on a trade, you're really only making 7,500 at the end of the day if you're doing it outside those. So it's a lack of understanding of the importance of use. So it's a mix. Actually, we have our year-end planning next week and we're looking at that data right now for the year. You're seeing on average in a lifetime, most clients are around 7 to 10 transactions that they do. And
that's it?
Yeah. And that's it.
Oh
that's
my
across.
God.
Yeah. But
that's like just, buying something and holding it forever.
Exactly. But that's the mentality of most Bitcoin hodlers, right? That's their thing. But there are some that do a lot. There's folks that do, there's the upper quartile, the top 20% probably do about 40 to 50 trades in a year. And they're moving things around, changing, looking at, we have 87 coins now, so they're playing different games. We did just launch staking, which I think I told you we were working on that when we saw each other earlier this year. You've got 4 different tokens: Solana, Ethereum, Polkadot, and Cardano that you can stake with now. I think the highest yield is somewhere around 8%. And the great part is you get paid in the coin that you're staking. I like this because it's not like what happened back in 22 and 23, where rehypothecation, leverage on leverage. The assets are staying inside of your IRA in wallet. They're just being dedicated to build a better blockchain and help manage the network and all the transactions. And you're getting rewarded for basically thinking long term. And that when they bring it in and then they stake, that's even another layer of, okay, I'm in this for the longer haul. Even though you can unstake whenever you want to, it's kind of like putting cash into annuity. You know it's going to be there for a year or two before I pull it out.
And
Bitcoin is more than a price chart. It's a financial philosophy, a scarce, finite resource in a world where governments can't agree on basic budget policy. It's about freedom, transparency, and building something that lasts. And while he's not rooting for national tragedy to awaken people to these truths, he believes Bitcoin has the power to unite, not divide. Whether you're red, blue, or undecided, the orange mindset of financial sovereignty has a place for you. Thanks for watching our video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. Everything helps us grow.